For my brothers never had an ear to hear 'em. These the bricks for our sisters help us build it. If I could be a black fly on the wall, I can hear and see it all and have the mind of a god. Black, 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 black. Fly, 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 fly. Black, 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 black.
Welcome back to another episode of Black Fly on the Wall. It's your boy LIDE. I'm your host, here with some very, very important, distinguished men. Here to have an important conversation about culture. Culture vultures and the exploitation of black culture. A very serious conversation that we're going to get into, but first and foremost, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with what Black Fly on the Wall has going on. I'm going to first introduce you to my boy Brian, my boy B-Mac. Introduce yourself, my man.
My gosh, pleasure to be here, man. My name is B-Mac. Everybody, you might know me as Brian McIntyre, but everybody know me as B-Mac. Happy to be here, man, from the Bull, like this young brother here, man.
Yes, sir.
And I'm excited to be here, man. Like I said, man, this is a dope movement, man. So I'm just blessed to be a part of this and to be a guest, bro.
Thank you for coming, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sparing us your time. Familiar face?
Yes, sir.
Travis, introduce yourself, my man.
I am Travis P. Jackson. I'm the CEO and founder of HBCU Pride Nation.
Yes, sir.
I'm also from Durham.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know, so there's a lot of
too many Durham boys
right here. Yes, sir.
going on right here.
Yes, sir, man. That's who I am.
Maurice, introduce yourself.
I am Maurice Harris, owner, creator of Culture Boutique. As we know, we're from Durham, man. I'm happy to be here. As we know, this is actually my second go around. Man, I got sick the last time, which I was mad that I missed the first one, but
You're always in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, man, I'm glad he called me for the second time around, and yeah, man, I'm ready to dive into a few of these topics, get some perspective, new perspective from these gentlemen. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
man, I'm excited. I'm glad to be here. So,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Hey, absolutely, man. Thank you all for giving us your time, and I think
Definitely,
this is an important conversation to have as you all, from my lens, are working within the culture. You all are respectfully working with your talents, your creativity. You all are aware of what's going on in the culture. So I think bringing you all together to talk about this particular topic is very important.
Okay.
Travis,
Yes, sir.
you run HBCU Pride Nation, one of the biggest platforms that represents HBCUs. HBCUs within itself are a culture.
Yes.
Do you sometimes feel like our HBCUs are exploited because it has that HBCU ring, it's all black, it was created by African Americans during important times, right, to give black people an opportunity and a space to have where they can learn and be educated safely. But so do you sometimes feel like, whether it's from internally, our culture, or from the outside looking in, HBCUs are sometimes exploited?
I definitely do feel that HBCUs are sometimes exploited. I feel that, especially when we're looking at DEI and we think about all the violence that happened, Black Lives Matter, right? I think that HBCUs and people trying to take advantage of HBCUs didn't really pop off that much until the Black Lives Matter movement. When everything happened with Freddie Gray, George Floyd, Sandra Bland, everything like that, people, corporations, whatever, they was like, hey, let's figure out how to show our support to black people in general, but then specifically HBCUs. Now you see a lot of recruiters wanting to hire from HBCUs. You see a lot of people, like whether it's like the Oscars or award shows, you'll see commercials about HBCUs. You'll see so much, right? But before all this stuff started occurring, you really didn't see that much on about HBCUs. So when it comes to like my platform, HBCU Pride Nation, I created it to show people the truth of HBCUs. And when you would look in the mainstream media, right, this was around 2010, you will always see people talking negatively about HBCUs. You will see people not understanding the relevance of a HBCU, not understanding that there's over 100 HBCUs throughout the country. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it was always negative. So I took it upon myself to tell you that HBCUs were the real deal before any of this stuff started happening. So to answer your question, yes.
Absolutely. B-Mac, do you sometimes feel like, in general, and Reese, I want to know your perspective on this too while we kicking this off, is do you sometimes feel like our culture is exploited?
100%. Like, you know, and being in my industry, and I think I forgot to say what I do. So I'm a creative producer for BET, ESPN, I1, some of your favorite brands.
Nice.
I kind of help them show up creatively across social and digital. So that's kind of what I do for a living. So for me and my perspective and what I do, like I see it all the time. And for you, I remember when I was in college when you had the platform popping, right? And I remember when I was at ESPN. So that was my first job out of college.
Wow.
So working there, and I got on First Take with Stephen A. Smith, who's also an HBCU grad.
Yeah.
And I remember going to leadership, and I'm like, yo, like, we got it. Stephen A. is a huge name. He went to Winston-Salem. He's a big person.
Brand pride.
We should be promoting this and, like, you know, highlighting how this is an HBCU grad. These are the main people watching our show. We trying to get younger. This is what we should do. And then it's like, oh, we don't really see the ROI.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These, you know what I'm saying? These are white men in these leadership positions at the time before we kind of switched leadership. They didn't really see ROI in that. Like, why would we have First Take? You remember how First Take used to travel and be at different colleges? I'm like, yo, we should have First Take at the HBCUs.
At the
doing the shows.
HBCUs.
And they're like, yeah, why would we do that? You know, we're not showing the games on television like that. Like, what's the ROI? And I'm like, yo, these are the people that y'all want to attract to watch the show. Like, this is the ROI in it. So I used to beg and plead. And finally, I made a pitch deck for everybody watching. Like, always, like, you know what I'm saying, if you have a vision, like, map it out. So I put out this whole pitch deck together, showing the ROI in it, how we can drive in, not only revenue, but viewership from coming down to these HBCUs. And that's when we had Winston-Salem and Central, the marching band, come open the show. You know how Wale used to open the show?
Yep.
We had Central and Winston-Salem come open the show with the drum line for the show, and then open the whole way for First Take, now going to these HBCUs on the show. So,
Because they've had First Take at Winston-Salem State.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So now we the first time ever ESPN had never done that, have an HBCU open the show for the show. So I took a lot of pride in, like, pioneering.
Congratulations
that.
to you.
Shout out to Amari Collins, who kind of helped me with that vision as well.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, like, they didn't see the ROI in it, and then it's like we did the opening, and everybody loved it. The feedback on social was great. People kept talking about it on media outlets. Now it was cool. So now it's like, oh, Brian, this is a great idea. How can we do more? And I'm like, yo, bro, I've been telling you. Like, I gave you the blueprint. This is where the culture at. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like ESPN is like heavy on, you know, doing stuff at HBCUs, which I appreciate. But it's like, it's cool now. At first, until they saw the ROI in it, they was like, why would we do that? Why would we do that? So, like, people, these brands are realizing, Amazon, Netflix, Spotify, they're realizing the culture is where the money at. This is how they're gonna bring in the revenue. These sponsors, these advertisers, they're trying to tap into these cultures, these music festivals, these black-owned music festivals, this black-owned content. That's what they're trying to get. So 100%, they're trying to, you know, to a certain extent, they're doing it. Now, from a business perspective, it's like we appreciate that, right? Because that's the end-all goal, right? Like, you want to build a brand, you want to market it, you want to get money, right? Like that's so you gotta appreciate it, but 100%. So it's knowing the game, knowing how to play it. But nah, they're definitely, you know, I hate to say it like that, but they kind of pimping the culture for sure.
Yeah.
In case ROI is return on investment, in case someone don't know.
It's important
you know, as a big corporation, that's what it's all about. It's like the money we're putting in, what are we getting back as well? And just kind of piggybacking off B-Mac, it's definitely a lot of cultural appropriation, but we also got to look in the mirror. We got to put more.
There we go.
We got to put more emphasis on HBCUs, because when we think about a good education, let's be honest. Do we think about an HBCU when you say, "Oh, I'm about to send my kid to get a good education"?
You should.
Now,
As we should. It is now, but then you got to think when we
They need to
thinking
go
about
to the Dukes. They need to go to the Carolinas. They need to go to
exactly.
the
We think
Stanfords.
about your predominantly white institutes.
100%.
We're not thinking about, like, even Angle Front. Back when I graduated, I didn't want to necessarily, like, I didn't look at Central as I look at Central now.
100%.
And that's also just being educated as well. But us as our people, as our culture, we gotta put a standpoint on. Listen, this is the agenda that we're pushing. Nothing else matter. Like, nah, let's send our black kids to black HBCUs and learn what they need to learn, not being force fed something that's irrelevant.
Absolutely.
We need to learn our culture.
And because how we when we engage more with our culture, and we invest more into our culture by participating in it, by going to the HBCUs, by supporting Black-owned businesses. We're more so identifying with the culture, and that then more so makes you appreciate it as well. So establishing our identity within culture is far more important than the overarching term or misappropriation or appreciation of culture. Is first, like, we have to first identify what is our culture and what is not. Because sometimes as a Black community, that's where we get in trouble at. We feel like everything Black is our culture. And that's not necessarily true. Some things don't really support the movement and support where we're trying to go in the future. And it doesn't really align with what our culture is supposed to be. So everybody's culture has some type of negative or positive connotation associated with it, but we can choose what we want to associate with and not. As a mass, we have to have the ability to say, yeah, they Black, but what they got going on ain't a part of our culture, because that's not helping us push ourselves forward.
Right.
So we must identify, and again, going back to what you said, and going back to what three of you said, is that the education is key. And sometimes the first education that you can get on your culture is at a HBCU. Absolutely. And so that's why it's important for every young man and woman. It's kind of like the initiation, right? The conscious initiation to becoming who you are. If you're not learning it at home, if you're not learning it in elementary school, if your parents, your grandmother, your grandfather are not teaching you who you are, where you come from, your roots, sometimes your first interaction with that is going to be at a HBCU.
Yeah.
You got to stand on a strong foundation.
And let me go in a little bit on a HBCU history lesson. Can I do that?
Go ahead for it. Yeah.
People have to understand that even though there's 101 HBCUs right now, there used to be over 200, right? And then also understanding that HBCUs were created to provide our ancestors a high quality education whenever the slave masters were trying to take it away from them, right? And then understanding that the first HBCU that was produced was 1837, which was originally called the African Institute, and then the Institute for the Colored Youth, which is now Cheney University of Pennsylvania. But then 1854, Lincoln University of Pennsylvania was the first HBCUs to grant degrees to Black people, right? But then also understanding the location, the geography of HBCUs. It's North Carolina. We are in the state that has the most public and private four-year institutions for HBCUs, right? You have Alabama, who has the most HBCUs, period, inclusive of community colleges. They have 14. But then you also have Louisiana, you have Oklahoma, you have Virginia, you have D.C., you have Maryland, you have Florida, you have Delaware, South Carolina, what else? Am I forgetting anything? Texas, you have, even in California, there's a medical school called Charles Drew School of Medicine. You see what I'm saying? And we've had HBCUs around here forever, bro.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Any other ones that I'm missing?
No.
Majority of them, right? And we've been here, even like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Nikki Giovanni, Felicia Rashad, a lot of the African-American pioneers that paved the way for us to be here today all went to HBCUs. You see what I'm saying? So if we're looking at the fact that our African-American pioneers went to HBCUs, we're just living in a cycle, right? Where now it's hot to go to a HBCU, but it's been hot to go to a HBCU ever since. Our facilities and our facilities and quality and all the other stuff, you got to experience, man. You got to experience a HBCU to understand a HBCU.
And I got one more point to come back to the HBCUs when it comes to these brands, kind of like, trying to kind of, pimp out the culture a little bit. So my man, you got that Gorham Bros hat on. I hope in the B-roll, I want to show that hat. So Gorham Bros is a company based out of San Francisco. They slid into my DMs on LinkedIn.
Okay.
It was like, hey man, we love what you're doing. We love the work you do. We would love for you to come on and help us kind of build our brand. We're looking to kind of like build our distribution. We want to grow our growth with like selling more hats. I was like, all right, bet. So I came on full year contract. Now they giving out bags. You know what I mean? Came on full 1 year contract. First time I get in there, I'm assessing like what they kind of doing on social, their hat brand. So they sell the farm hats like that, and they also do the fedora hats. So DTLR was their number one like retail store that was selling their hats, whatever like that. I kind of looking in the database. So anybody doing jobs, always do your research, see what the data is pulling. So I'm like, all right, DTLR y'all biggest merchant outside of Nordstrom. Well, Nordstrom comes second, they first. So I go on DTLR. what's the hat they got in there that's packed out? Is that joint right there, those farm hats? And those hats, like, was like the #1 seller for DTLR. So I go back to leadership. I'm like, yo, y'all know, like, DTLR, like, y'all #1, like, retail store selling these hats, right? And they're like, yeah, the farm hats. I'm like, bro, y'all know who, like, shop at DTLR?
Right.
Black people.
Black people.
HBCUs in the South. Baltimore all the way down to Mason-Dixie line.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, yo, like, if y'all trying to, like, make more money, like, this is the way. Like, they already buying the hats. Plies be rocking the hats. Like, did y'all
That's the
not
first
know?
person that I kind of noticed that was rocking it.
Bro, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, are y'all, like, paying attention? Like, these people are wearing the hats for free. Like, they're buying y'all hats with no marketing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all should just market to the audience. So, man, I pitched this whole HBCU tour campaign. We partnered with DTLR. We had live activations on every HBCU campus, raised their sales up and stuff like that. But, like, it's crazy how they're selling the product. They ain't even know the demo or what we did, what an HBCU was. I said the term HBCU on the group meeting. They're like, HBCU, what's that? And I'm like, historically black college. You know what I mean? They didn't even know. And these are the people's, like, products that we're buying.
So again, that goes back to Reese's point. Education and awareness, and we have to come up with concepts, and this can be a larger project for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. But we have to come up with a streamlined, conscious, unifying conscious way of thought of we are going to support businesses in a massive success that support us as a community. Intentional buying. Right? Because we are we are actually contributing to the misappropriation of our own culture.
We are.
By wanting to wear the best threads or wear the threads that's popping, or you see it on TikTok or you see it on Instagram and you really don't know the history of it. You don't do the research. You don't go onto the about page of the website and see where is this at? Where is it made out of? Is it black owned? Is it not? Is it what are they doing in the community? Who's associated with it? Because when you do that, you oftentimes will become more intentional about what you buy and what you do not buy.
Correct.
Because so as a store owner, brand owner, fashion, merchandise, everything under that umbrella, what has been some of your experiences with our culture and some experiences outside of our culture when it comes down to selling your merchandise?
So one of the biggest things is, as our culture, what we deem as what success look like. It's like, you got to be in the Dior, you got to be in the Gucci, you got to be in the Louis. It's like we have been, I ain't gonna front it, we've been brainwashed of what success supposed to look like. So it's like not having any identity. Me, I pride myself on buying black owned. Like, if I'm not rocking my brand, I'm promoting, supporting someone else's brand, because I know I can't sell to everybody, but I'm looking like, listen, if you're not buying from me, go buy this. Like, this is another dope black brand. You know what I'm saying? This is a brother that's from the same similar upbringing as you. Go support him before you go run and go buy the Gucci, the Burberry, the Dior. So we have to change the mindset. It's like a lot of, we complain about culture appropriation, but we don't support our own culture like that, especially with black brands. Man, I would see people going to Nordstrom's, or they're going to Neiman. They got his homeboy recording him in the background while he counting out money.
Yeah.
You know what's going on. This is a light day. This is easy. When you come to a black-owned store, is, come on, what you gonna do for me?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna ring this total up just the same way they did at Nordstrom's and give you this total. Like, treat me with the same respect.
Right.
It's mind-boggling how we would go into these white stores and we don't want to look broke. We go into these black stores and get humble. Like, come on, now, I know you're gonna look.
Well, then you want that homeboy discount. That
Yeah.
homeboy discount.
Yeah, let me get a homeboy discount. Like, why is that? When you won't fit your mouth when you're in Nordstrom's to ask for a discount, because you know what time it is.
Correct.
Those shoes are $8.95. You won't fit your mouth to say, come on, man, I know you're gonna look out for me, and you're spending racks.
Racks. Yeah.
To a person that this is pennies versus this black-owned brand who got a dope brand.
And a story behind it.
in a story
about to say.
behind
Which
it
is-
that you
which is
can
important.
connect with.
which is important.
You spend $1,000 with him, change his day,
Yeah, for sure,
change his day.
for sure.
You spend $1,000 in Nordstrom, you're just another black man spending $1,000. Like Kanye quote, even when I'm in the Benz, I'm still a nigga in a coupe.
Mm.
It don't matter.
Mhm.
So we got to change the mindset of what we're supporting. Let's stand behind each other, because it's like, if it's not us, then who?
That's a fact.
I've been doing this almost 7 years now, so I've seen it. Trust me, I've seen how people come in, but don't get me wrong, I got people that come in with the correct mindset. They
Correct.
say, I'd rather spend this with you than go spend this with somebody I don't know, because I know this is supporting you. When you're supporting these small brands, this is not get money just to buy another property.
Right.
Ah, bro, like this is feeding this man everyday living. This is what's helping him feed his son, feed his daughter, keep the lights on, pay rent, pay phone bills, whatever the case may be. So I make a very value effort to, if I'm not shopping, most of the time I'm always with me. I mean, everything I got on today is me. Pants, shirt, hat.
Mhm.
But if it's not me, I want to shop my homeboys, and I'm proud to promote them. Like when I'm on my Instagram, people like, Reese, you like, one thing I do see you promote other people's brands. It's also a confidence, because it's not to be cocky. It's like, I know my brand. I know my shit is hot. Sorry, excuse my
No, you're
French,
good.
but I also want to highlight my friend's brand.
Because you're confident in your brand. You understand that, but you also understand that the more you give, the more you receive in return.
Correct.
So you're not losing anything whenever you're promoting somebody else's brand. But also, the undertone of what I'm hearing you saying is that as an owner, and we can get in talking about ownership in our culture, and how ownership will allow you to have that freedom to do so.
Correct.
You know, like you talk about ownership, and you talked about your contract with the hat company, and how you have more flexibility in where you spend your dollars, and the clientele that your demo and your rate of return whenever you have the ownership, and you're moving with that ownership mentality. Trav, have you noticed that being an owner is a lot more beneficial whenever you can then steer your company in a direction to retaining and acquiring the clientele that you want
Yes, I have.
within the culture?
Yes, I have. Especially like being able to. Little do people know, I own this right here.
Come on now.
I own the words HBCU Pride, like for hats, bottoms, and shirts, right?
Nice.
And I love it so much, man, because it used to irritate me so much when I would see either my logo or I would see other people in other places using my stuff, right? So being able to know that I went to trademark and went through that whole process, and people have to come to me in order to use these words, it does so much for my brand.
Mm-hmm.
And then also being able to own other things like the HBCU Pride day party or the brunch. Nobody else can use that. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, they'll see what's hot and try to emulate it, but they can't do it like we do.
Mm-hmm.
And,
For sure.
and that's been a big plus, right? But I think more people need to, not only from a legal standpoint, more people need to take ownership of what they're doing.
Correct. Like the responsibility.
The responsibility of it, because some people, they just do it just to get by, and then some people do it with a passion, right? Like my bro owns everything he got on, and it makes you feel good, don't it?
Oh, absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
It's definitely hit different when someone
Compliment
asking you
you.
like, "Oh man, where you get them?" It's me.
It's me.
Available right now.
I just want to say these nice wax jeans I have on are from Culture Boutique.
There we go.
I spent
you know,
about
that's what we
$350. You know
on.
what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nice
yeah.
luxury brand. Shout out to you, brother.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, brother.
Nice.
So,
And that's a big thing. We got to look at our own brand as luxury.
yes.
That's the big thing. When
Yes,
we
bro.
look at when he's rocking it, he's like, "Oh yeah, this is my homeboy brand." It's like, no, you got to be proud to rock
For real.
our own brands. We
For real.
we got to hold it at a certain standard.
You do.
It's not just like a throw on. It's like, nah.
Fact.
But then what's crazy, right? Like, no disrespect to Jordan, it costs a small amount of money to produce these J's. And then even when you look at like your McQueens and you look at those brands that we
Very
see as
minimal
luxury,
cost.
very minimal cost, bro.
Very minimal.
And they
charging.
They charging, but when we charge for what we have, it's like we trying to rape people and rape people pockets. I don't want to use that word in the negative content. Okay,
Right.
No,
But
Trying to take advantage of.
yeah, try to. Okay, thank you.
they look at us sideways when we charging $70 for a hoodie.
Right.
And I can just speak on it's different with production costs.
Mm-hmm.
These companies making thousands of these versions, so their production cost is minimal. Versus I'm making 20. It's very limited, but no one questions. I always laugh because people come in and now they become fabric experts. Like, oh, this ain't gonna shrink. Like this. They asking questions. You go on Nordstrom's, you buy a $250 T-shirt and not ask a single question.
And do
But
it
with
all
me,
the pride
you're
in
gonna
your
get
soul.
Right.
you're gonna get 10 questions asked about a $70, but you won't question that $300 because again, they assume because it's Gucci, they don't ask questions. They assume it's gonna be right, but you can wash that shirt and it's gonna shrink.
Correct.
But guess what? They still go back and buy another shirt.
So and they're not getting the service that you're giving.
But
Right.
also too,
Correct.
let's look at it. Let's talk about this. Where did this all begin?
Us.
Mine.
Us, our artists, and our creators also represent these brands, and we say we want to be like XYZ. They're wearing XYZ, so I also must have that. So the initiation of this thought of how we define luxury, how we define our culture, how we define what's embedded in our culture starts with the people who we glorify and who we put on this higher pedestal. Also, too, it starts in our homes.
Yes.
Correct.
So
Right.
boom. Remember we was having a conversation backstage. So like, yes, our culture, we do like media, we do kind of push that narrative, you want to be like the rappers, you want to be like the athletes. But at the same time, growing up in my household, like who I really wanted to be like was my pops, who was rocking sandals and a white tee.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
There we
nah,
go.
like I just wanted to be wealthy. I wanted to have my money. I wanted to have my legacy. So like, yeah, of course we look at these rappers, we look at Lil Baby. I got some nice shoes on. Like, I'm gonna treat myself, right? But like, I also support my black brands as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll go and restore, drop a bag, get his clothes, and I'm gonna wear it in my interviews like I got on right now.
There we
I'm gonna
go.
wear it when I'm on set, when I'm doing interviews, when I'm traveling for work, I'm gonna rock the brand. So I think, just is the mindset. It's really just the mindset that you grow up with the household. It's like, yeah, we like the luxury, but you don't gotta chase that. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I don't even know how you know. It's a Tissot's watch. This joint probably like, I got it for free because Tissot's paid me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's sponsor, you know what I mean? So I got this for free, but like, bro, like I got bread, but I'm not about to, I don't need to go get a Rolex. I would like to, but I don't need
want
to.
the
Like,
Rolex.
if I get
In
it, I
due
get it.
time.
In due time. And I'm gonna get it when it makes sense
Right.
for me.
And that's another thing within the culture too, is like the pocket watching, but also you personally knowing when to make the right investment
Absolutely.
in the pieces and the items that you want, versus you making those things and you stretching yourself out so thin to where you're actually doing it with the wrong intention, or you're doing it to impress others.
Treat yourself when it makes sense.
Versus whenever it's
B-Rex
something
said,
that
"Treat
does
yourself."
something for you.
Yeah.
Everything is done in moderations, but I really think that cultural appropriation would be different if we took our culture more serious.
Mm.
So if we held it at such a high standard, it's hard to infiltrate things.
Correct.
Like me and B Matt was talking about
Like this is what we're not going to allow.
correct. So
We're not supporting that. We're not buying that. We're not doing this.
things seem different when you're not accustomed to it. So it's just like if you have a daughter, you always buy her flowers, you treat her nice. So when a guy come around, he can't. It's harder to sweep her off her feet because she's accustomed to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to come in and finesse the culture. It's like nah, we've been on this.
Right.
You can't sway us on this.
Right.
But that's why these
Or
Take
if there's a celebrity or somebody or a Michael B. Jordan, somebody of that level, and they about to do an interview on CBS, and they like, if it's not black on, I ain't wearing it.
correct.
I'm not wearing the Louis. I'm not respectfully to those brands, but I want to wear something that my culture has created. So when we start setting those types of standards, like I'm not going to make this medium of exchange with you in this when it comes down to finances and exchange for marketing and all that, unless my culture is appropriated in the correct way.
Correct.
So it's all about, like you were saying, it's the custom, but also too it's the high level of expectation
Exactly.
that is set for us. And also we're now in this stage, this information era. We're now transitioning into AI, which is transitioning into higher level reading. You can get a book in a day, or go to Barnes and Nobles, or get it off of Amazon. So now with our culture, the millennial, we're responsibility for the education for now our children that come up under us, and teaching them this toolage, because our parents, all of our parents, didn't have the confidence, the education, the wherewithal to be able to say, you know what, back then there wasn't much that was black owned in certain states. So they associated what with their white or European or whatever counterpart or coworker associated with driving the Benz, driving the BMW, all of those things. And so sometimes things are luxurious, but they're not luxurious and they don't support our culture.
Nah, for sure. And you made the point of the household. Like, we were talking about this backstage too. It's like, oh, bro, like, if you want to treat yourself, you want to buy nice things, that's all cool. Your house needs to be in order. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you know what I'm saying, y'all got on this designer clothes, we boofing it up every weekend. House is not in order. Your finances ain't together. You stretching yourself too thin. Your kids are not taken care of. If you die right now, you know what I'm saying, your family got to post a GoFundMe or something like that. Bro, life insurance is $65 a month.
That's
you can
not
go
good.
get a 6-figure policy.
That's
you know
not
what I'm
good.
saying?
We
The
see that too
same
much in
bread
the
you spending on
culture.
hookah every weekend, you can spend that on a policy so your kids and your family don't have to go through that when you pass away. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we're chasing things, trying to like glorify and keep up with people who are the 10% of the financial population.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like that is 10% of the population like you're trying to keep up with. That is not normal. Like what you see on TV and social media is not normal. Like, you're not making money like that. The chances are a lot of us won't be making money like that, right? You know what I'm saying? Now, God willing, we all want to be that. But like, you know,
But
like
you won't if your intention isn't in the right place.
Exactly. And it's like, and if you're chasing those things, you'll never get to that level because most of those artists that you see, bro, they're wearing that stuff for free. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
And a lot of times they don't own it.
They don't own it, and they're being gifted.
And you know, my
these
stuff
products.
is given for shoots and photos that they just wear.
Come on, man.
It's
They're not paying for
wardrobe.
none of
Once
that.
they take that stuff off, it's going back, and we give so much free promotion to these brands. It's outrageous.
Walking billboard.
And look like, yo, but it's still these companies, like what we're spending is pennies versus we going on these major platforms promoting a black-owned brand that can change someone's life. That's the big difference. That's why I'm looking like, nah, I want to see the change. It's like, let's not.
And how we change is we have to actively reclaim ownership of our culture.
Correct.
And actively means that we have to be engaged, right? We got to be engaged. We got to be active. We got to be having these conversations like this. We got to be having these same conversations with our mothers, with our fathers, with our grandmothers, with our nieces, with our nephews, with our children, and our family first. And then we start spreading this conversation to every person that we meet whenever it's appropriate so that we can start shifting the mindset of us reclaiming our culture. Because right now, our culture is almost in a place to where it needs to be broken down and built back up because of the negative foundation that it was built on.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, we was brought here not by choice and left with what there was left over, right? The scraps. And we've done very, very well based on our circumstances. So I don't want to ever kick us while we're down when it comes to that. But now we have the education. We were talking about HBCUs. We got degrees. We got PhDs, dentists, lawyers, doctors, right? Galore. But we have to also shift that mentality and that internal conversation that we're having to where it permeates all of our networks and friend groups that we have, to where our culture can be taken back and we can build it in the way that we need to. Step into the vibrant world of Culture Boutique, your go-to fashion haven nestled at 518 East Trinity Avenue, Durham, North Carolina. Culture offers a meticulously curated collection that seamlessly blends the latest fashion trends with a dash of cultural elegance. The racks showcase an array of styles, from eye-catching prints that pop with color to timeless classics that exude sophistication. What sets Culture Boutique apart is their commitment to celebrating the culture through clothing. And at the helm of it all is the owner, Maurice, a fashion enthusiast with an unwavering passion for uniting cultures through style. But don't just take their word for it. Their satisfied customers attest to the unbeatable quality and variety they provide. Whether you're seeking a show-stopping outfit for a special occasion or simply wanting to refresh your everyday wardrobe, Culture Boutique is your destination. Join them at 518 East Trinity Avenue, Durham, North Carolina, and let them help you tell your unique story through fashion. Come and embrace diversity in style through Culture Boutique, where every outfit narrates a rich tale of culture and individuality. Visit their website at shopculture.online to explore their latest collections and start your fashion journey today.
But I have two things. What we also have to do is understand the power of structure, right?
Absolutely.
Like when after a conversation recently, I started realizing that like white people, one thing they know is structure, bro. And we're great with the implementation and the creativity of it. Like no matter how great we are, or how creative we are, how much we execute, like we can't build on anything without structure.
Facts.
You feel what I'm saying?
Having that foundation.
But then also going back to one of B-Matt's points in terms of people just like spending money to like kind of keep up with the Joneses. I'm gonna go on a limb here, right? One thing that ate me up real bad, or has eaten me up a little bit, nothing against Beyonce, right? But so many people have spent unnecessary money that they do not have, whether it's their rent money, whether it's their mortgage money, whatever it is, for and in all respect to Beyonce, salute to what she has done, but people are treating her like she's a higher power, and they're spending what they have for themselves and their families on her. But then when they go back home, Beyonce already have your money, or let's just say these celebrities already have your money, and they go home, they're good. But what do you have? We always empty ourselves in order to fill someone else up.
And two, even if you go and
That
enjoy
makes sense?
yes, even if you go and enjoy Beyonce, you need to take something home with you.
Take something home with you.
You need to take home hard work. You need to take home structure. You need to take home teamwork. You need to take home living in your essence.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like even if you spend I don't know how much the tickets were. Thankfully, my wife don't. It's not a crazy Beyonce.
You're lucky man. You're lucky
my
man.
pockets
Boy.
enjoy it.
Right.
But it's like, even if you spend the $700-800 on a ticket, if you leave there inspired,
Yeah.
and this is the key, not to have this inspiration and it's for a moment and you go home and you sleep it off and the next day you're still doing the same stuff you've been doing. But if you leave there inspired and you actually go and apply it and you transmute that energy,
That's
Money
your
well
word.
spent.
That's your word right there,
So
Trey.
that's where the true energy and the true manifestation comes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Now, if you go and to Travis' point, if you go and you waste that
Mhm.
and you spend the $800 and you just have a happy feeling, when you're not in the position where you can do that and you can waste your time,
No.
your money, and your, most importantly, your energy, and to leave there empty. But
Right.
if you leave there inspired and you apply it and you transmute that into something, and you go and you say, I saw this, and you go and create and you drop something and you make a bag off of it and you reinvest it, and that was all from that one point, in that one moment.
It's money well spent.
exactly.
And when
exactly.
Go
So,
ahead,
like, to your point, it's like getting something from it. So, I remember when I first graduated college, shout out to my boy Roland Reeves. He used to work at BT before I did. Worked on the BT experience marketing side. So, I fresh out of college, still don't got no job. I done moved back to my mama's house, still trying to apply, find jobs. BT Awards is coming up. He already worked there. He was like, yo, just come out here, come get the vibes. It's a couple events I can get you in free to. I can get you in free to the show. So, I bought my flight. I bought a hotel. I linked up with him, went to a couple of the BT corporate events, and then went to the award show. And going to that award show, I was just there, man, like just seeing that for the first time. Mind you, this is something, as a kid, we watched her growing this in the living room.
Facts.
So now I'm here in the show.
That was
this-
a holiday.
Yo,
absolutely.
that was a black holiday.
You
Every
was set
summer.
up, too.
Every summer.
Yo, so like getting exposed to that and getting to see that, I was like, yo, bro, I don't know how, but I gotta get here one day. I gotta be involved in this in some form of capacity. And I left inspired, ended up getting a job at ESPN, then came full circle and coming to BET 4 years later, where now I'm the creative lead for the BET Awards, right? And it's like just being there, being inspired to. I was like, no, I don't know how I'm gonna get
Let's
here.
give a clap
but
to
I'm
this
gonna
young
make it.
man.
Nah, you know what I'm saying? But I spent my money.
yeah.
I'm broke. I'm living with my mama. I done maxed out the credit card to get out here to LA.
You bet it on yourself.
Yo, to be out here, bet on myself just to get exposed to it. Yeah, and it was crazy. Some of the leadership people I met on that trip are still there in leadership now at
There you
BET,
go.
and we still talk about that story all the time. Like, man, I remember you used to be here just as a fan, and now you here backstage like running shit.
There
know
you
what I'm
go.
saying? So,
Yeah.
nah, like, get something from it. Like,
Go-
if you're going to
always.
Beyonce, like, get inspired by her work ethic, her
Even
motivation,
this,
you know what I'm saying?
even with you all investing your time today for Black Fly on the Wall, I want you to leave here with something.
Man.
Like I want you to leave here with networking. I want you to leave here with like B-Mac was like, yo, how I can help with the production, whatever y'all need. Gain a contact. Christian's here, one of the biggest YouTubers on the planet. In the back, if you're
Yep.
trying to scale your YouTube, get with Christian.
Mm.
Like it's so many people, it's so much equity in the building right now
Mhm.
to where this is not a wasted day.
Exactly.
Right.
Like
Everything
you
should be
inside,
intentional.
everything is intentional. You inside, it's a sunny day outside. You can be somewhere kicking back, smoking a cigar, drinking on some tequila, or you can be here where you really, really investing in yourself. It's the same thing. You go buy $1,000 ticket. You go buy a
Yep.
$400 ticket. You go buy to a conference, or a TED talk, or a fireside chat. You go in there with an intention. So no matter where you are, and this is for all the listeners out there, no matter where you are, find the intention. Find your equity. Find out where you can carve out some space for yourself to say, all right, this is my intention of where I'm going in today, and this is what I'm going to get out of it, no matter what.
Yeah.
So I think all in all, cultural vultures and cultural appropriation is all about what we allow.
Mhm.
Correct.
It's all about the standard that we set. It's all about the level of expectation that we raise everything to. And we as a community have to take accountability and responsibility, A, for where we are, and B, for where we're going.
Mhm.
And once we tap into those two levels, we won't have to worry about the cultural appropriation because we are in control of where the culture is going. We're steering the ship. We're driving the boat.
We gotta stand on business.
Mhm.
So
Good business.
I've seen so many times where the cancel culture is so it's thin nice. Like I've seen like, oh, we canceling this brand, and a month later we back buying it.
Yeah.
Yep. H&M.
Let's talk about it. Look at the real quick before we close out. Look at the Yeezy situation. Like the Yeezy situation was one that had the news,
Going
the
crazy.
news media in a headlock.
You notice they needed them though.
And guess what? Everybody was doing this. They was throwing the Yeezys out. They was canceling this. They was canceling that. The things that he said and things that he did, he should be held accountable for those things. But the same company that everybody started to run to with Adidas and say, you know, we are no longer doing this, we are no longer doing that. They went back to the meetings and said, hold on, we're looking at our books and
The money,
the math ain't mathing.
It ain't hitting.
The math ain't mathing. So the same person that we canceled, they went back into bed with to do business with, and now we sitting there holding the bag like, oh.
We got to stand on business.
In the first round of Yeezys, they did over $1 billion. So because it's all about
Crazy.
good business, and that sometimes we're not able to always disassociate our emotions with business,
Correct.
because we do everything
do.
as a culture. As a culture, one thing about us as a Black community is that we do everything with feeling, everything with emotion. Everything that we do has an emotion attached to it. It's never really black and white for us.
Oh.
It's like we go into a job with an intention, and we want to get in there. We want to make change. We want to inspire. We want to then take that content. We want to post it on our gram. We want to inspire other people. We emotionally are getting involved with it, which is good. But on the flip side of it, it's not always good for business, because we're always a lot of times mixing our emotions with business versus what we're seeing with Adidas is that, look, he said this about the Jewish community. Hopefully he apologized, but we still have to get in bed with what we're doing,
ROI.
because it's all about rate of return.
Listen, man, and it's like understanding the business. Like I'm pretty sure y'all heard the news about like BET potentially getting sold and Tyler Perry putting it in the bed. So like like Paramount. So for y'all that don't know, BET got sold like 10 years ago. Bob Johnson did a deal that benefited the company. I think a lot of people think, oh, he sold out. No, he saved the company, got it. We're 10 years later, the company's still thriving, and we are run by Black people. I want to put that out there. Like, it's not white people making the executive decisions. From the top to the bottom to the interns, it's all Black people. Like when I came to BET from ESPN, it was all Black people in office. So I just want to make that very clear. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not
important. The
Yeah, you know
education
what
is
I'm saying?
important.
So like, your Paramount was like, all right, we're gonna shop it around, try to sell it, and they trying to get $3 billion for it. Why is that? Because they see the money that we're making them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but then it was like, $2 billion. I appreciate you, Tyler Perry. We gonna wait this out and see if we can get $3 billion up out of y'all. Essence just sold for $1.5 billion 2 years ago.
Wow.
Like these Black networks are worth a lot of money. This coach is worth a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But I understand in business, like just because somebody like takes a buyout or agrees to merge doesn't mean they're like selling out. Potentially, they're probably saving the company. Ebony actually just got bought out by a black family, a billionaire family, the Branstein's or whatever. But it's like that's not always. You can't always be that lucky, right? You
Well,
can't always get bought by a black
we
billionaire.
sometimes look at ownership as that we need to have 100% of everything, versus why have 100% of nothing when you can have 50% of everything. Like Hov sold his brand with Duce and Ace of Spades.
We talked about that. I said
LVMH.
Yeah,
10%
and that's
of
not
something is better
selling
than
out.
100%
Like
of
that's smart business.
QC sold
Yeah.
to Scooter Braun. So it's like these companies are what is the goal? First off, we have to first educate ourselves on what is the goal for the business that you're building. You have to always keep in mind what your exit is, and what your exit for one man or woman exit plan is not always the exit plan for yours.
Yeah.
So like with Travis or my brand, our exit plan may be I'm gonna grow this to be the biggest platform or whatever it's gonna be. At the end of the day, I'm gonna grow it, scale it, and I'm gonna hold on to it for the next 50 years. And then when my grandkids get it, I'm gonna then let them make the decision to sell it. Sometimes people will run with the 5 or 10 year goal is that I'm gonna build this up and then I'm gonna get acquired, and I'm gonna stay on and work at that company of my brand. Everybody's exit plan is completely different.
Completely different, bro.
So you have to respect every man's business acumen and what they want to do.
Yo, BET, Amazon, whatever company, Spotify, come to you right now and be like, all right, man, we're going to give you a $10 million deal. 5 years, we're going to distribute your podcast across all platforms.
Let's talk.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to give you this cash up front,
Yeah.
but then we'll also give you ownership stake for life.
Let's talk.
Like, so like, let's say like, you know, right now is all run by you, but like you take the deal with Spotify, you take the 10 milli and you get ownership stake in the company, you're set for life. You know what I'm saying? You and your kids are going to be set for life.
Yeah.
Like ownership it's not just gonna be you making executive decisions anymore, but it's still your name, it's still your brand. You and your legacy, your kids are set. That's not selling out. Like I'm sorry, that's not selling out.
We think selling out.
Like the whole deal is to grow, right? You know what I'm saying? Now you're distributed across the whole nation, across all streaming platforms. Like that sounds like a win to me. The whole goal was to grow and to get heard by the masses, right?
We have to educate, but we also got to stop wasting our time going back and forth with people who don't want to understand business. They're small-minded and don't understand business and don't want to understand business. So a lot of times we're wasting our energy. And I think P from QC said it the most. He was like, you know, just because we make an exit at $300+ million, and do you know what we invested in this? This is a mega deal that you may only see once in your lifetime.
Absolutely.
So, and you know also too, wealthy people hang around wealthy people.
Yeah.
So whenever deals and things like this come towards them, they're getting consultation. They're tapping in with their network. They're saying, you know, what do you look like? And people are telling them, yo,
do that deal.
You need to do that.
Yo, make no mistake, Bob Johnson is still getting checks. He still has ownership in BET.
He's very wealthy.
He has equity in the company for life.
Yes.
Like he didn't. Yes, he sold, but he's still eating.
Michael Jordan sold the Hornets, $3 billion, but he still has ownership in the Hornets. It's just not a majority stake. So it's like you have to figure out what lane you're swerving in and out of as you navigate in this business world. I think cultural appropriation is key. And Travis, I know you want to say something. I'll let you close this out. I think for all listeners, it's important for us to just assess where we are and make business decisions based on where we are with right mentorship, right friendships, and with the right business acumen when moving forward. Yeah. Trav, I'm gonna let you close this up.
2 things. What we also have to do in terms of appropriation is stop allowing our counterparts to mock us, right? Like, one thing that I don't like seeing is, like, I don't know if y'all seen on IG, but you have, like, news reporters or, like, they're interviewing black people, or you'll see, like, us doing our music or something like that, and all of a sudden you'll have, like, some white people that know the words and they're singing it, and we're all joyful about it. And it was like, you're allowing this to happen, right?
Yeah, we do.
Like, we have to,
especially
like
on TikTok.
We do it
on TikTok. We do it on TikTok.
And then also, and I'm gonna need you to come in on this one because we talked about it backstage. When you think about it, right? When we're looking at the media, more people know about Good Times, the TV show, than they know about the Jeffersons, right? When the Jeffersons was about wealth and building yourself up and everything like
Black
that.
empowerment.
And the Good Times was like getting out of the ghetto, right? The media was so powerful that they showed us more about getting out of the ghetto. I believe that the show lasted longer.
The American Dream,
we knew
the house with the white
JJ
picket
and
fence.
everything, but then when it came to the Jeffersons, it was like, they don't need to see that too much. You see what I'm saying?
Look at the theme song.
Yeah.
When Good Times they told temporary layoffs, good times. Like, oh yeah, we doing bad, but hey, we got good times.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, nah, what Jefferson's talking about moving on up to
Yeah.
the east side. You got to think
Facts.
Jefferson's.
Was-
He was doing better than the white people.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
playing.
Take no slack.
Correct. He
Making
was
that
playing-
money.
Right, and
Like,
they planted the seed in our minds of the potential that we can achieve.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to push that
Correct.
agenda.
Correct. So we have to assess, continue to assess. Like, we're running these platforms. We got the BETs, we got the revolts. You know, how can we be good stewards of the power that
That's
we
the
have
word.
and push
Correct.
the correct agendas that we have?
That's the
Right.
key, man.
And
That's the
also
key.
not always looking at what's hot right now,
Mhm.
and not always looking at the rate of return, but what do the people need? Like, we made a lot of money this year, but this is our charity work right here. We won't
Right.
make any money off of this mission, but this is our mission work. This is what we're doing. We're going to the elementary schools. We're going to the middle schools. We're doing all these things to make sure we plant good seeds into the community and to make sure that we always moving forward.
Absolutely.
But I think this conversation definitely deserves a part 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
You know, because it's a lot to talk about with the culture.
It's
It's a
needed.
multi-hour
Needed.
conversation, and I think in the future there needs to be a part 2, and I think we need to continue to just embrace the culture, but also it's just like raising a kid,
Yeah.
or a niece or a nephew,
Yeah.
right? You affirm to them what they're doing well, but you also affirm what they're doing, what they need to improve in.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing a lot of things right. I like where the culture is moving, but we need some things that we need to sharpen up so that we can improve.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. 'Cause
Big
you-
thing
was
with my
exploitation.
shirt.
I was gonna say I feel like a lot of times we're raising black people. We've been raised out of survival instead of with structure and
Correct.
love. You know,
I
and I
hate when
think
my mama
as a
say
race,
that.
that's
I
where
tell my
we
wife that all the time.
that's where we fall behind.
Yeah.
So with my son, I try to be intentional, which
Yeah.
is how I'm leading by example. I know Reese, you do the same thing. I think that's where we got to
Not
do.
operating out
you
of
know,
a spirit of lack.
You know what I'm saying? Like operating out of spirit of lack, like just operating as if we have it.
Yes.
Everything is good,
Yes.
and this is the normal.
Yes.
Like this is normal. Like our parents, like having good jobs and
Mhm.
being able to go to nice schools. Like this is normal. Like this isn't no abnormal. No, my dad don't play in the league. He just work in corporate. No, my
Yeah.
mama don't. No, my mama ain't no singer. She just work in corporate. Like
Right.
that needs to be the normal, and
Yes.
that unfortunately that hasn't been. I think once we get there, and I think our millennials. I feel like we were the first ones to kind of lead that charge for it
Mhm.
like that. I think that's where we'll see like the shift and change, which is like the mindset.
Facts.
We are the guardians.
Yes.
It was crazy. That's why I made the shirt. It's the culture, the guardian. Like, listen, we got to protect at all
Yeah,
costs.
we got to gatekeep
We gotta
our own culture.
gatekeep. We gotta move and push the culture forward. We have to share knowledge. It's like when you have knowledge, just don't keep that to yourself.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Listen, when you go through a door, leave the door cracked. Let somebody
Yeah.
else walk in. You don't have to baby step every person in, but don't get through the door and close the door
Be
behind
selfish.
you.
Correct.
It's like, listen, there's opportunity when you understand your destiny is your destiny. What God has for you, God has for you. Nothing can change that at all. So it's okay to shed light on someone else. It's not going to dim your light. Your
Mhm.
light is going to shine bright regardless, but let's continue to push the culture forward. Let's share knowledge. If you know something that I don't know, let's share that.
Mhm.
Let's empower one another. It's strength in numbers.
Facts.
We can't do it by ourselves.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
Once we come together collectively, that's why they had the Willie Lynch, because they knew how to separate the slaves.
Mhm.
Because they knew once that light bulb clicked, slaves could easily overpower that plantation. But we are weaker when there's division.
Correct.
There's
And-
strength in
and-
numbers. And when we come together and we all are on the right accord, we can really push this culture forward and get what's just due.
Yes.
Let's take what's ours.
Hey,
We're
we
not
can-
waiting
and I-
on no 40
and we-
acres and a mule.
And we can end. Hey, straight up, we can end on that
Oh,
because
okay.
that's
We done.
levels.
We done.
Come on,
That's
we got to
levels.
get to it.
Because it's all about, Reese, what you're saying is, and as we close, it's all about awareness.
Absolutely.
So as long as we continue to maintain the awareness, and we was talking about it a little earlier today, is maintain your awareness and remain intentional about what you're doing, the culture will be taken care of.
Absolutely.
We are the guardians.
Stop
Yeah,
being
There we
man,
go.
We are, man.
Stop
Let's
being
go
keep
one.
pushing it
impulsive.
forward.
Good, go and clap that one up, fellas.
Yeah, love that. Love that.
Good, that was good.
For my brothers never had an ear to hear 'em. These the bricks for our sisters help us build it. If I could be a black fly on the wall, I can hear and see it all and have the mind of a god. Black, 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 black. Fly, fly, fly. fly, fly, fly. Black, black, black.